Hello, and welcome to this professional development workshop on resume writing. Resumes are one of your most strategic documents, and we're going to walk through today how to effectively create a standout resume. My name is Katie Krikorian, and I'm the Assistant Director in the Career Development Center. Just to share a little bit about me, I have a Bachelor's of Music, concentrating in vocal performance, and a Master's in Arts Administration. I've been working at Loyola for almost 5 years now. I love helping young artists and future professionals succeed in their goals and their career plans. I'm also a freelance resume and LinkedIn writer, so I know a thing or two about creating really standout resumes. And I'm excited to talk to you all today about how to create those. Just some resume basics. Your resume is one of the most important documents in the job and internship search process. It's vital to master the art of telling your unique story on paper so that you can land the interview. A few resume basics are: 1, it provides a snapshot of your accomplishments and credentials. 2, it lists relevant experiences and activities and skills. And 3, it should always leave the reader wanting to know more about you. Here are some resume quick facts and considerations for writing your job tool, which is your resume. Typically, hiring managers and HR professionals spend about 6 seconds on average reviewing a resume. So you have a matter of seconds to make a great first impression. On average, every corporate job attracts about 250 resumes. Also, many companies screen and filter candidates using an applicant tracking system, which is also known as an ATS. And we'll talk more about that later. And then lastly, your email address can turn off recruiters if it's too informal. So make sure you have a professional sounding email address to really put your best foot forward. So our next few minutes, we're going to talk about 3 tips on creating a really great resume to land you an interview. Tip number 1, you want to decipher the job description. So this is a step that actually a lot of people skip. It's estimated that applicants spend maybe 50 seconds looking at the job description before they apply. And this is a really big mistake. The job description contains many key clues and information into creating a very strategic and tailored resume and cover letter. So what I suggest you do when you're deciphering the job description is make 3 columns. You want to create in column 1 what you understand about the needs of the organization. So you want to put yourself in their shoes. Second column, how do you align with those needs? This will help you create concrete examples to craft your bullet points. Your bullet points act as proof points for why you're the right candidate. And 3, in the third column, you want to write down keywords that the company uses. So you want to adapt to their language. So this is key. This is one key to making an ATS friendly resume, to using buzzwords or keywords that you find in the job description. And we'll look at those in detail. So this is a sample job description that I've pulled from an online database. And this company has indicated that their ideal candidate qualifications includes this number of bullet points. So what I've done here in this sample job description is underline some keywords that I might recommend putting in your resume and your cover letter. So if you look at the third bullet point, their ideal candidate integrates appropriate technology into music therapy sessions. So I might suggest on your resume or in your cover letter, utilizing the words appropriate technology, or even just technology, because this will circle back to their need for a candidate that utilizes appropriate technology. And you can demonstrate in your resume and your cover letter how you utilize technology in your sessions by giving them some examples. And you can see this through the number of bullet points listed on this slide. But it's really important to spend some time unpacking the job description so that you can, again, create a customized, tailored resume that's really going to wow the person reading it. All right, next tip You really want to make your experiences count. So it's important to remember that when your resume, you are in control of the narrative. This is your chance to make strategic decisions about your experience. It's recommended that you have between 3 to 5 bullet points under each job. Again, these act as proof points as to why you're the perfect candidate for this position. You really want to convey the reader that you exceed expectations. So you can do this by communicating the action that you've taken and the impact that you had at each experience. And anytime you can, you really want to quantify aspects of your resume. And we're going to talk about quantifying your proof points and why that's important. And with that, we're going to have a small history lesson. This is a picture, or this is a sculpture of Aristotle. So Aristotle discusses the 3 pillars of effective persuasion. And those are ethos, pathos, and logos. And translated, those mean credibility, emotion, and logic. He believed most in logos, which is using logic or evidence as facts to persuade someone. We as humans are wired to think that things are more believable if they are associated with numbers and statistics, which is why quantifying your experiences is so important and strategic. And we're going to show a couple examples of how to quantify your experiences. Again, your resume is all about persuading someone to give you an interview. So using logos or logic is a really strategic tool to utilize in resume writing. Okay, so here's an example of quantifying your bullet points on your resume. Which of these sounds better? Facilitated music therapy sessions, or facilitated weekly therapy group sessions to promote social interaction and safety behaviors for neuroplasticity for 10+ middle school age students. So here we have how many times we're facilitating a session, how many middle schoolers we're facilitating that for, and the point of the session. So these are strategic ways to quantify your resume bullet points. Here's another example. Which of these sounds better? Helped with campus events, or co-produced campus events to raise awareness of sexual assault with 4 external speakers, resulting in 600+ attendees. It's the same concept. We're still producing campus events, but when you talk about co-producing your campus events to raise awareness of sexual assault with 4 external speakers, resulting in 600+ attendees, we have so much more quantifiable information in that bullet point that really tells us the goal of the campus event, what it consisted of, and the result of the event, which is a really impressive number. And then I have one more example for you. Which of these sounds better? Was a babysitter for 3 kids, or assisted with caring for the needs of 3 children by feeding, cleaning, and bathing, formed a steady schedule to maintain an organized and structured environment while focusing on providing a safe and comfortable atmosphere. We took a pretty generic bullet point, was a babysitter for 3 kids, and turned it into a really quantifiable and impressive proof point on what this person did as a babysitter for 3 children. So again, anytime you can quantify or give concrete details for your bullet points, you should. And I'll leave the reader wanting to know more about you, and again, act as those proof points as to why you're the standout candidate that they want to bring in for an interview. Tip number 3, have other eyes on your resume. This is critical for making sure that you're not glossing over any typos, grammatical errors, or formatting feedback. It's a great idea to have a friend, a family member, a faculty, a career coach review it for feedback, and then ask them if your intended message for the hiring manager is coming across. Your resume is often the first impression made during the job search. So ensuring that your resume is the best that it can be might mean the difference between landing a job and not even receiving an interview. Yes, it is that important. Odds are that you've already reviewed your own resume a few dozen times, but self-evaluation can only do so much. After all, it's not yourself that you're attempting to persuade with your resume, it's somebody else. From this perspective, it only makes sense to have a fresh set of eyes, look over it, and evaluate your resume. Perhaps even a few different reviews can pinpoint any and all deficiencies in your resume to fully maximize it to its potential. All right, now let's talk about what should your resume look like. So I'm a fan of keeping resumes clean and simple, making sure that you're spotlighting your key skills, using reverse chronological order, which means your most recent experience at the top, working backwards, breaking it down in an organized format, and again, quantifying your bullet points. So you really want to be cautious with templates. There's a ton of templates on the internet that you can find. Sometimes these can be frustrating with formatting and design, and you really want to make sure that whatever format you choose, whether it's with a template or creating it on your own, that you're organizing for quick scanning. Some things you want to avoid on your resume are obviously typos, illegible fonts, things that are outdated, a format that's hard to skim, abbreviations unless you've already established the abbreviation once, unrelated experience, and obviously lies. It's okay to emphasize and embellish certain experiences, but you want to avoid just outright lying. So again, talking about formatting and why it matters. As humans, we are visual creatures. Research shows that we process visual information 60,000 times faster than text. So you want to illustrate your worth, your value, and your experience through your one-page document. Now on this slide, I've shown an example of a really great format for a student resume. And these examples are available to you in the Career Center and will be emailed to you after this presentation. Again, we want to circle back to the fact that recruiters skim for resumes for an average 6 to 8 seconds before deciding if they want to interview somebody or not. Whether it's an online job application or a personal referral, you want the person opening your resume to say, wow, now this is the person that I need to meet. You want to think of your resume as a marketing or sales document, and every second counts. In a nutshell, you want to remember that that a killer resume equals results-driven content tailored to the role and a really sleek and organized format. On this next slide, you're going to see eye tracker patterns. So you really want to utilize your resume page strategically. Where you see the red bubbles, these are where eye trackers have noticed that people spend most of their time looking at their resume, at somebody's resume. You'll notice that it creates an F. Now, this doesn't mean F for failure, but this is called the F factor. So you want to keep the F factor in mind when you're composing your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your cover letters, or other career communication documents. Think about how you can position key information and impressive accomplishments in these specific areas. Doing so will likely increase the readiness, readability, and comprehension for recruiters and hiring managers. So it's important to remember that content is king. Bill Gates said this, and I believe that it's true for resumes as well. You can have a beautiful resume, it can be organized, it can be full of bullet points, but if it doesn't convey anything about why you're a standout candidate, it's a pointless document. So make sure that you spend your time really establishing killer content for your resume. At the end of the day, you want the most impactful and strategic content and information on your resume. Here's some more examples of a resume that's not so great, and one that really looks killer. I'm a huge fan of sleek looking resumes. It sets a great first impression. It illustrates your worth, your value, and your expertise from day one. Again, we're visual creatures and we buy into strong brand aesthetics. As much as we'd all like to claim it, we don't judge a book by its cover. Let's be honest, sometimes we do. Your resume is your first impression on a page, and you have to make it an impactful one. And visuals are a great way to play into that. The ideal length for your resume for less than 10 years of experience, 1 page is all you need. Remember, your resume is a teaser trailer, not the feature film. Again, your resume is a highlight reel of your accomplishments, your skills, your education, and your experience. Definitely make sure you take advantages of the resources that are available to you here at Loyola. This class, for one, this professional development foundation skills will help you set yourself apart from other candidates. In the Career Development Center, we offer resume reviews that can help with any position that you're applying to. You really want to take advantage of these resources to put your best foot forward. Also, we have a handout, a resume writing handout that can break it down into different resume formats. So these include the components, formatting guidelines, examples of strategic resumes, and strong action verbs to use. This will be emailed to you after this presentation. This semester, if you'd like to schedule a resume review, you can do so virtually. You can schedule an appointment with a career coach on the phone or Zoom video. We also have Zoom walk-in hours for quick help if you need that. Those are Monday through Friday from 2 to 4. And again, you can schedule an appointment with a career coach in Handshake. That concludes my presentation today. If you have any questions or comments, this is my name and my email address. And I look forward to helping you and your resume writing endeavors so that you can land the internship that you're gunning for. Thanks so much, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.